Welcome back to the Scorching Hot Takes podcast. Today, we're here with an album face-off. So it's going to be Winner Stays On. We've brought in 10 of our favourite albums of all time.
Each.
So
20 altogether.
Correct. Through all different eras of our lives. Some are like 7, 8 years old, like I've been listening to. Others are more recent. Blend of genres. This isn't a definitive top 10 for us, because
we know you want that, but we can't do it, so we've just ballparked 10 of our favourites.
Yeah, and I've tried to go for a bit of a mixture as well at the same time. So there's going to be some very interesting matchups in here.
Yeah.
And basically the point of the video is to just work our way through. There'll be some face-offs, and then at the end, we'll see which one is still standing as the best album. So even though we've brought in our favourites, what goes through is what we make the best argument for, as well as what actually is the best.
Okay.
So I hope you're feeling argumentative, because this is the one that we're going to fall out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to
stick
stick up for my roster.
And same here. So the first matchup is Going Blank Again by Ride from you and Selected Ambient Works by FX Twin from me. One thing as well, I will just say, we're going to be tight on the timing today.
Yeah, we're going to just get it speedy across. Okay, so
we're not messing about. I will let you go again. Why do you think Going Blank Again should advance?
I love it. I think it's absolutely incredible. Guitar-wise, Andy Bell and Mark Gardner, fantastic. They've got a really good mix on that album in between kind of late 80s, early 90s, alt-rocky shoegaze and early 90s Britpop. I think this is Ride's best album, and I think that I've completely forgotten what the bass player is called, but the bass player and Los Colbert, the drummer, is one of my favourite, and I think one of the best rhythm sections of all time. I think this album is absolutely stacked, and I think Leave Them All Behind might be one of the best intros of all time.
Jeez, that was a good pitch.
Yeah.
I can agree in like everything you said. I just don't think it has the edge that the Selected Ambient Works has. If you look at it for a unique identity, there are other alternative sort of Britpop leaning, shoegaze, alternative rock, everything you sort of just described it as. There are other albums that tap into a similar sound. There is nothing like Selected Ambient Works, and it completely revolutionized the IDM and EDM genre forever.
Yeah,
and it's
I think there's more weak points. I think if, Selected Ambient Works has got much more drop-offs. Stuff like Xtel, big for a reason, that's good, but I think Going Blank Again's a more consistent album, so I'd say I think it should go through. But I know you're going to disagree with that.
I do disagree, but do you not see what I mean about how there isn't another album like Selected Ambient Works?
I'll let Selected Ambient Works go through, because I know that this is my taste thing.
Yeah, I do think as well Selected Ambient Works is a more important album.
Yeah.
So that can advance. Let's see what it's going up against. It is going to be going up against...
So do we bring in now one of mine or one of yours against it?
Well, the way I've got it written was Going Blank Again was the first on the list, then Selected Ambient Works, so now it's A Hero's Death by Fontaines from you.
Okay.
So now it's Selected Ambient Works versus A Hero's Death by Fontaines. Okay. Do you even want to try and argue that?
I will say Selected Ambient Works is going to win.
Yeah.
However, let's just say A Hero's Death's praises. We've not done a discography ranking yet for Fontaines, but I think this might be their best album. Without going too deep into it, I think it might be. Songs like A Hero's Death, Lucid Dreams, Television Screens, I Don't Belong. There is so many songs on here that are just as good as Fontaines gets in every way. So I definitely appreciate this one. I think it's a great album, but I'm happy for Selected Ambient Works.
I completely agree. I don't think we should. It's not like a complete like. It doesn't just shit on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't just like smash it out of the park. But I think there is no way it stacks up to the heights of a Selected Ambient Works.
Yeah.
Next one is coming in is one of mine.
Yeah.
Whole Lot of Red by Playboi Carti. Massive personal favourite, but the critical acclaim side of it may let it down in this battle.
I mean, straight away, you know that I'm not going to let it through. There is some songs on Whole Lot of Red that I do quite like. I think a lot of it is more because there's memories attached and it's just fun, rather than actually thinking it's good music, because it just isn't my thing at all. There's a couple of songs that I've listened to, like, oh, this is all right, but there isn't every song on Selected Ambient Works is at least this is all right. So for me, there is no way that FX Twin can't go through.
For me, and this is really tough, because as much as I think Selected Ambient Works is arguably the more important album, influence-wise, they're both very influential in their own respective areas. And also Selected Ambient Works has the time and the fact that it's aged factor that helps it. But I think a whole lot of Red genuinely, maybe 30 years down the line, will be seen as one of the most influential rap albums of the post 2000s.
Tell you what, if we do this again in 30 years, it can go through then. FX Twin's going through.
I don't know. For me, we said we'd make arguments for some of our personal favourites. For me, I prefer a whole lot of Red. I think there's not a vocalist like Carti out there. He has such a unique voice, and the way he attacks productions like Stop Breathing, Rockstar Made New Tank on that time, completely redefined the sound, creating the rage genre, which is still one of the biggest subgenres of the trap genre. Just said genre like 6 times, but that is true. Like, of the 2020s in particular, one of the most influential artists, full stop.
Do you genuinely think that it's a better album, or do you think you just prefer it?
That's where I'm struggling. And also, it's a taste thing. Like, a whole lot of Red's more my thing. It's what I've grown up sort of listening to, the trap genre. So, it's tough, you know. I want a whole lot of Red to go through, but I don't think that's the right decision.
Yeah, you won't get cooked. It's on a bit of a streak now.
Yes, let's see how it works.
We're going to topple it off the throne.
Let's see what it is coming up against. Ooh, Psychocandy. Jesus and the Mary Chain.
I think Psychocandy.
No chance. Bro, same reasons. As much as like a whole lot of Red, for me, what I prefer, want it to go through. Selected Ambient Works is better than Psychocandy.
I don't think it is.
Oh, bro. But this is what we were just doing for me.
Psychocandy is just as much of a unique album, just as much of an influential album.
Ooh, no.
100%.
Selected Ambient Works, there's no way it's anywhere near as unique as a Selected Ambient Works.
There is not much noisy rock music or like punky stuff that doesn't take influence from the Jesus and Mary Chain.
I'm saying it's a unique sound. Influence, yeah.
What sounds like Psychocandy? What other album sounds like Psychocandy?
Well, you're asking the wrong person.
If it was, but also not really. You've done a lot of diving, but also there obviously will be stuff, but I can guarantee there is more stuff that sounds like Aphex Twin than sounds like Psychocandy as a specific album. Later, Jesus and Mary Chain.
Because of the influence. That's the influence, though.
Yeah, because it's such a good album.
We're making the exact same points for the albums here. Selected Ambient Works, why does a lot of stuff sound like it? Because it was so influential and completely redefined the genre blending of IDM music.
Yeah, but I just think Psychocandy's more standalone genius that...
No way. Selected Ambient Works is one of the most unique albums of all time.
So Psychocandy.
No, it's not like stacking up to the same level.
Are we just actually putting Selected Ambient Works through again? Can we make an agreement?
All right. I think it's had a run, and for the sake of the entertainment of the video, it can go through. I disagree, but I think you've made a good argument, and we're sort of arguing the same point. So I think it's fair. Selected Ambient Works has had a good run.
Yeah.
I won't put Psychocandy.
Psychocandy's in.
And it's going up against Lover's Rage 2 for me, and...
this is going to be a horrible argument because
this is one of our personal favourites. This is the longest standing album in our listenership for as well. Like, I've listened to this since the year 6 transition summer into year 7 when it came out that August. I have listened to this album for however many years it is now. That'll be like 8 years.
And I don't know how you're not sick of it.
But again, it's a taste thing.
I know.
If you want, let me just make the argument for Lover's Rage 2 here.
Okay.
As much as it's a personal thing, it is by so many people regarded as the best album of a subgenre being emo rap. It's in the conversation for best trap album of all time. That's not a ridiculous thing to say. One of the best deluxes for any album ever, with songs like 20 Min on there, which are still absolute timeless classics. You don't find production like that on any other trap album. Like, there is so much, and the hooks on this album as well, so catchy.
Yeah.
So catchy. The replay value throughout this album is incredible. There's so much variety. Uzi's performances are eccentric. They're fun. Like, and it's also got a little bit of substance to it as well. Like, there's some introspective moments and some, I was sort of saying it earlier as well, but there's all-time production on here. Like 20 Min, like an EXO tour, like sampling a Minecraft trapdoor. That's fun. That's a little Easter egg that sort of adds to it. Songs like Neon Guts, you're getting Pharrell production. You're getting a Pharrell feature. You're getting the Weeknd feature. It's massive for a trap album and completely revolutionised the sound forever. So many people influenced by this album.
I'm aware. It's a stacked album in terms of successful songs. And it's a personal thing again. Uzi is one of the artists in my tier list of just annoying, unlistenable. His voice, I hate his voice. I just find his music really annoying to listen to.
Okay, but if you put that aside,
but I also don't think it's
can't...
objectively good rap music. There is, and even trap. There's better trap stuff out there.
Go on. What's better?
A Whole Lot of Red, I'd say, is better.
Well,
and I don't even like Whole Lot of Red that much.
They're very different albums, and I love them both. And I'm
also not
necessarily
a trap
saying
guy,
that Love's Rage 2, but they're on the same level for me. And also, I think A Whole Lot of Red isn't seen as good as Love's Rage 2.
So they're on the same level
for me.
Well, if Psychocandy beats Selected Ambient Works and Selected Ambient beat
we can't do that though, because there's matchups in here where I'd argue. So like Selected Ambient Works maybe would beat Love Is Rage 2 as well, but it didn't go through, so that's the thing.
You know what? Love Is Rage 2 can go through because I know that whatever's next is definitely going to beat it anyway, so I won't have to get too annoyed.
Let me see what's coming up. I'm glad that you've done this. We're going to have a good evening.
I don't agree with it though.
It was the same for yours though. I think we've got to be a little bit fair with each other. SP73.
SP73, Haraton Salvanini. There is absolutely no chance on earth.
No, bro. As a entertaining list, like, trust me, if you put this album on,
not trusting you at all.
No, what I'm saying is, if you put this SP73 on, it's great lounge music. Like it's really just like nice to listen to, but I don't think it has the range to be played in as many environments as something like a Love Is Rage 2. Bro, like,
very broad album. There is some like really funky salsa stuff, but then also some like really soul crushing stringy stuff. But that is a very, very broad album, I think.
No, not in terms of, it doesn't tackle a lot of like different textures or soundscapes. In terms of when you want to listen to it, even you will admit you don't listen to it that much because you want.
I still think though that there is a different situation. You can listen to the different kinds of songs in it, but also my only counter would be, I'd say that Love Is Rage 2 is less of... Maybe there is some songs on there that are better than songs on SP73, but SP73 is by far a better album.
No
because, like you said, I don't listen to it that much because it's a proper listen all the way through album, whereas Love Is Rage 2, you can quite easily listen to a lot of songs on their own. It's much
that
more
shows the
album.
quality though, and you can't make that argument because that is what you said about the Piper at the Gates of Dawn. You take individual songs out of it, and the songs stand alone higher than they would on Wish You Were Here. Whereas Wish You Were Here is maybe you need the album. Love Is Rage 2, you listen to the whole album; it has no misses on, but you can also take the songs out in their own right. But I wouldn't go to this Harrison Salvanini album and just take an individual song out.
I would. You know what? Again, I'll let you in. Listen to both these albums and then cook Sam in the comments for his absolutely horrendous take on this one.
But this is the thing.
Move on.
This is the thing.
I don't want to hear anymore.
I'm just making a point.
Yeah. Bit of water.
These albums are like
so
hard to compare. Like, it depends what you like. So like, I don't think. Yeah, I might get cooked by some people, but you'd also get cooked by some people because if you don't like jazz music.
Even if you don't like jazz music, there's still stuff on there that you might get down with anyway. It's not all just jazz.
Again, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I genuinely think, though,
there is so many, like 20 minutes of art, not even just by rap fans, just beloved by so many people. Yeah. It's got the reach into different genres.
Yeah.
It's just one of my favourites as well. Like, I know I'm putting...
You are just glazing it a bit now. Let's move on. Yeah, it's not that good. It's not worth all this time. There's every other album on this list.
In your opinion, whatever. Now it's coming up against Remaining Light, which is
let's not even... We don't need
to have the conversation. Remaining Light is a far better album.
Yeah. Thank you.
As much as I've grown up listening to Love Is Rage 2, this is where there is absolutely no argument. Remaining Light has so much personality. It's so fun. It is just... I don't even need to say anymore. I'm wasting my time. Remaining Light...
Cross-Eyed and Painless, The Great Curve, Once in a Lifetime. There is...
Do you want to just name the whole track list because you can?
Yeah. I know I've said it before, but Seen and Not Seen might be one of my favourites. It's just like a nice...
Listening Wind is also one of my favourites.
Yeah. I like the concept behind some of the songs.
I just like David Byrne's songwriting. Like, he's such a weirdo, but like...
In a good way.
And also there's some really weird elements to these songs. Like, some of the guitar solos are jarring, but it doesn't deter you. It's not like, oh, it's a bit awkward. It's just like, oh...
Yeah.
I like that.
The second half is definitely a little bit more of a peculiar listen, whereas the first half is just genuinely... The first half of Remaining Light might be genuinely one of the most stimulating listens of any album ever. Specifically The Great Curve and Cross-Eyed and Painless. There is so much going on. And sometimes with songs like that, it gets a bit much. This is the perfect kind of just concoction. It's a cocktail album.
Yeah, I don't think we can at all. I know you're not, but we can't ignore the second half though. I love the way the album's structured, where you get the more subdued, more like slower tempo based tracks in the second half, and some of them
a bit more darkness on the second half.
Yeah. And it adds for such a diverse listening experience because you can get the bangers at the start and then some more like deep introspective cuts in the second half.
Yep.
Remaining Light is an incredible album.
Very happy with that going through. Fuck off.
So now, what is this coming up against it? Oh, personal favourite for you, Brighter Later, Nick Drake. Remaining Light is better though.
Oh,
and I don't, because Remaining Light, this is one we can agree on.
I think it is.
But I'll let you give it Brighter Later a bit of respect it deserves.
Definitely out of Nick Drake's 3 albums, I'd say probably the most accessible. It's got some kind of jazzier, more upbeat numbers on it, like Hazy Jane 2. That's a great song. It's incredible Nick Drake songwriting as usual. I think if you want to get into Nick Drake, but maybe a bit like Sam, sometimes you struggle with just plinky plonky singy songwriter stuff. Then
plonky.
This is definitely the album for you to try out. But I'm happy to let Remaining Light go through. I think it is a more impressive, cohesive, and exciting
standout.
album.
It's got the star power.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as much as high quality singer songwriter stuff is really good to listen to, sometimes you want a bit of star power for an album.
Yeah.
I think Remaining Light has that.
Remaining Light's got a bit more pizzazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an interesting matchup next.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be easy for you, but
Yeah.
Remaining Light versus Lonerism. I don't know where I'm even thinking on this one.
No, it's Remaining Light.
I think Remaining Light is definitely way more influential and a standalone, unique album.
Yeah.
But
I think Lonerism's pretty unique.
No, but it is just like classic, like psychedelic rock still.
I think you need to give it more credit where it's due for
Lonerism.
Yeah.
I just gave it a 10 recently.
I know, so why are you not hyping it up more?
I am. I don't know which way I'm going yet, but I was saying what Remaining Light has on it, but I was about to say Lonerism is a more transportative listening experience, which is what maybe resonates with me more.
I'm not even joking. I could listen to an argument of Lonerism going through. I think Remaining Light has more stuff that sounds like it than Lonerism does. What sounds like Lonerism?
Any 60s psychedelic rock, any 2000s MGMT,
similarities, yeah. But
Flaming Lips, like any psychedelic.
There is similarities, but I think that Lonerism's much more. Remaining Light's going through anyway. I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate, but just being you.
Well, I don't know. I might argue for Lonerism.
Well, you've kind of just argued against yourself.
Because I was saying what Remaining Light has on it, but in terms of what I value from it. Because if you look at it objectively, I think Remaining Light's more impressive, but I think Lonerism actually resonates with me more and evokes more of an emotional response from me. So, and I think when you're listening to music, that's what actually matters. We can sit here and be as objective as much as we want, and I know it's me saying this.
I disagree with that, as in it doesn't resonate with me as much. I think Remaining Light is more. I think Remaining Light's much more of a universal album. I think maybe
I don't know.
I think
Let's let Remaining Light go through because it's a toss up in different areas, but the arguments I'm making, you can argue they both do resonate with me. I don't know why I was making that argument. Lonerism is incredible though.
Yeah,
sad to see it go. Let's see what's coming in now.
We've had 2 big streaks on here.
Yeah, but for good reason, I'd say. Here we're going to Remaining Light versus Morrison Hotel by the Doors. So I'm going to let you have a think about that for a minute, because that is tough for you.
While I think about it, you're going to need to talk, because I genuinely can't just go off the top of my head. I need to actually think about it.
Influence-wise, both super influential, but the Doors might have it. But actually,
no, I think
the Doors in general have it. It's not necessarily this album.
I think this is peak Doors.
I agree.
Don't know where I pointed that meant.
But in terms of if you're going for influence, though, I think the Doors.
We're going for better album.
I know, but if you're going to bring in that as the argument, the Doors are a more influential band. However, Remaining Light is probably equally as influential as a standalone album. So I don't think you can make that argument.
I don't think we can go down the influence.
Yeah, I don't think that's a route to go
I think
down.
we need to go through it as a standalone album, and I genuinely.
Shall we do track for track battle?
Okay, let's just
pull up the track list. I wondered where you were going there. I thought you put your phone behind
you. Could just get that down, by the way.
I'll do it on my phone. It's easier. I know you'll get mad at me if I handle
Okay,
your records
first
wrong.
one's easily won.
1 sec. Let me get it up.
Wait, how many?
Here we go. How many tracks are on there? We'll have to go. I've got 8.
Yeah, this is 11 tracks. We'll just have to-
then we'll weigh up how good the last 3 are.
Okay, yeah.
Because I actually think that Morrison Hotel
Okay.
drops off towards the end.
Yeah, it does.
Whereas
Slightly.
Remaining Light's flawless to me. I think it's perfect.
Okay, let's just, first of all, Roadhouse Blues. Nothing's beating that.
Born Under Punch is the... It's not.
close.
It's not.
close.
It's close.
Born Under Punch is a highlight, but Roadhouse Blues is going
That's
through.
fine. Cross-eyed and painless, don't bother.
Waiting for the Sun is an incredible...
Cross-eyed and painless.
Yeah, I know, it's going through, but waiting for the sun.
Bro, you don't need to sing it. Cross-eyed and painless.
Waiting for the... Yeah, okay. You Make Me Real.
The Great Curve's better.
shit, yeah.
The Great Curve's better. So wait, I've got 2 right now. You got 1.
Yeah. Oh, You Make Me Real so good as well. Okay.
Once in a lifetime.
Peace Frog's better. Peace Frog's
Oh no.
Peace Frog's got funk to it.
No, I don't know. I'd go Once in a Lifetime.
I'd go Peace Frog.
I'll let you have 1. So
Okay,
it's 2-2.
Yeah.
House is in Motion. No, that is insane.
Blue Sunday.
I'd go House is in Motion, but I know that's a personal. No, I think
No, Blue Sunday is a better song. I think that's just a
House
personal-
is in Motion. One of the best choruses on the album. That refrain is so catchy.
Oh shit.
I genuinely don't. I can't even decide on that one. Well, I can, but I don't think we will.
I
Let's see. Let's see what next.
Ship of Fools.
See,
We've had all the hits off this now. Indian Summer's a great song.
Listening wins better.
Oh, Maggie McGill's good as well. Oh,
The Overload. Remaining Light actually wins because
Yeah,
it does drop off.
it does slightly.
If you went for the best moments in Morrison Hotel, you could have more of an argument, but I think you have to judge the
If
album
everything
as a
on
whole.
there was to the standard of Roadhouse Blues, Peace Frog, You Make Me Real, Blue Sunday, if the second half has a couple of Land Her and stuff, I'm not that bothered. Yeah, Remaining Light does it, but I'm actually quite annoyed about that. That's the
Yeah,
first,
but I think it's one of them
Going
ones.
track
that's-
for track's
the
actually
truth
quite
hurts.
funny.
The truth
Yeah,
hurts
yeah.
on that one. Yeah, the track list for track list is actually like a
Yeah.
good way to decide because you realise then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, right. Where are
Now, this is an interesting one. Remaining Light versus I Lay Down My Life For You by JPEG.
we? Remaining Light.
I'm arguing for
Okay.
I Lay Down My Life For You. I also think we can't just let Remaining Light trample on everything.
Yeah.
I think I Lay Down My Life For You is one of the most unique album experiences ever.
Yeah,
You get that out of all of JPEG stuff, Scaring the Hose as well. But I Lay Down My Life For You
I agree.
is the perfect balance of madness in terms of experimentation. Songs like Sin Miedo, you've got a dance beat with a metal breakdown, with rapping performance, incredible sampling throughout. You've got some immense string sections like on Don't Rely on Other Men,
Yeah.
Loop It or Leave It. But this album isn't unlistenable. Songs like either on or off the drugs.
Definitely more listenable than Scaring the Hose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is why I think this album, again, flawless to me and keeps it up for more tracks. And I think it actually, as much as Remaining Light is super diverse, I don't think there's many albums that are as diverse as I Lay Down My Life For You. And that's what appeals so much and how exciting and eccentric the whole...
So you think
thing
they're
is.
both perfect albums, but you would be willing to go I Lay Down My Life For You purely because it's more diverse?
And I think as well, as much as Remaining Light has some insanely bold moves musically, I think I Lay Down My Life For You is one of the boldest boldest curation choices in terms of a whole album. But done
It's
right.
definitely up there in my
It's
list
not as
of
maybe
albums.
as weird as some Death Grips or something, but I think this is where it pays off better because it's actually got the replay value still as well.
Yeah.
And also I think the other thing,
really
Remaining Light just has the classic and iconic factor behind it, which is almost like, I can't argue against it a bit. Whereas I Lay Down My Life For You just because it's last year. And also Remaining Light's a lot
I
bigger.
genuinely think that as much as I Lay Down My Life For You, I agree it's genuinely an incredible album. And it's not even my thing, so the fact that I'm saying it's an incredible album really shows that it is. And I don't think anything's incredible, really, other than my things. But I still think it's Remaining Light because lyrical content and concepts behind songs, I think David Byrne's got much more interesting thoughts behind it. I think I think some songs just get a little bit kind of, I don't like the government, I'm going to have sex with women. On some of them. Some of them. Not all of them.
Nah, I don't even think. I think Songwriting is really hard. It depends. You what?
Protect the Cross. Lyrical content is not on the...
So many good one-liners, bro. That is so many quotables.
It's not on the standard...
This is what I was about to say.
It's not on the standard conceptually.
This is what I was about to say. It depends what you go for.
Yeah.
I Lay Down My Life for You is maybe more lyrically, not in terms of instrumentally, more fun.
Yeah.
But Remaining Light's more introspective. I want to put A Lay Down My Life for You through, personally.
I'll let you do it.
Thank you. I owe you one. I understand that might be a hot take, but I think as time ages...
Yeah. Yeah, you actually do owe me one, yeah.
People will
yeah.
I just think it's got the iconic factor as well, Remaining Light, that it's hard to argue against. I Lay Down My Life for You against Closer. I know that I'd argue I Lay Down My Life for You. However, I don't think it's going to just walk through, is it?
No, it's not.
But for me...
I'm getting it down. I'm going to talk about every song. Hold on.
This is a complete just like difference in taste though.
I forgot that the track list isn't on the back. There we go. Atrocity Exhibition. What an intro. So really experimental. It sounds like there's literally chainsaws in the percussion. It's got like a really hopeless sense that it's just a great like prelude to the album. Isolation, dancey and dark. What more could you possibly want? Passover, Colony, and Means to an End just keeps up that sound. The drums on this album are absolutely amazing. Obviously, Peter Hook bass lines. Ian's writing's potentially, I think this is probably peak album. I think it's better than Unknown Pleasures in terms of writing. Heart and Soul, similar to Isolation, so dark and really kind of haunting. But them Stephen Morris drums, I might as well be listening to Pet Shop Boys because I'm dancing. 24 Hours, The Eternal, Decades. It's the same as just such a good 3-track run. Decades in particular, definitely one of Joy Division's more experimental ones. Such a haunting experimental outro. That I don't even know what the instrument is, but it's got like a harmonica kind of sound to it that kind of goes throughout. I just don't even know what to say. I think this is one of the best albums of all time, and I'm going to put it.
Absolutely no way.
I'm going to put it back on that note and let's see what Sam thinks while I do it.
I think as much as it's Joy Division's better album and best album, there is nothing that's anywhere near as unique as I Lay Down My Life for You. If you removed Closer from existence, you've still got Unknown Pleasures, and you think they're similar level.
No, this is a completely different sound to Unknown Pleasures.
Yeah, but if you still have quality from Joy Division, but
you still have quality from JPEG,
but you don't have, bro. Scaring the Hose is nothing like I Lay Down My Life for You either.
I know.
Veteran, it's not like
you also
LP.
owe me though, and I am right.
Yeah, but whoa. Bro, music's subjective. Like you can't.
It is, but I think I'm right anyway.
Also,
I think I'm right.
The only comes in when it's completely close. Like when we're umming and ahhing. I can't you. I don't you just for like it's not even. It's night and day for me. I Lay Down My Life for You is much better for what I want out of an album.
I think objectively, personal bias side, I still think this is a better album anyway.
Why? What does it have over I Lay Down My Life for You? Just if you were to go either artist performance, production, like that sort of stuff.
Artist performance, definitely. Such
again,
a power.
No, actually, that's too hard to compare. That depends what you want. Again,
I think generally you're much more. Your preferences is more entertainment and just kind of you like kind of more fun and exciting albums. That's
actually,
a fact.
I don't know. No,
I much prefer.
You should see some of the ones that are coming up in this list. I won't mention them just yet. They are very introspective and like concept albums.
Yes, but in terms of delivery, you're much less of a moody song kind of guy. This is a very moody album. It's very dark. It's very bleak. You don't like bleak music. What bleak music do you like? There actually isn't any.
Radiohead.
Not.
Radiohead aren't bleak. Are you tripping?
At times, yes, but in terms of production, but on this, the production kind of mirrors that. It's not easy listening. Radiohead is really easy listening. Even though stuff like Climbing Up the Walls, yes, it's very bleak. However, there is much more entertainment. It's much more theatrical. This is just a...
Go to Videotape or something. One of the most raw performances in their whole catalogue.
Yeah.
That's bleak. Why are we even arguing about Radiohead?
I genuinely think... I can't let I Lay Down My Life for You go through here. A JPEG Mafia album over Joy Division's
Why are you putting it like that though? This is what I mean.
Because that's how ridiculous it is.
No, because this This is the
I
thing.
think I'm tangled.
This is the thing, though. I don't think you can just make the argument where it's like, oh, it's Joy Division, because otherwise, like, that's not fair.
Well, of course you
judging
can,
the
because they're a
album-
better band than he is an artist.
No chance.
You think JPEG Mafia is a better artist than Joy Division?
Yes.
This is just
I
personal
think
preference for you,
JPEG is like one of the most individual like artists and
of all time.
bro, who sounds like JPEG?
Being unique doesn't mean best all the time, though.
No, but what I'm saying is he has the quality and the critical acclaim.
Yeah, he does have quality, but just not to the same standard as Closer. I've budged like 4 times in this video.
You can have Closer, but it's night and day for me.
Again, you can just let us know how stupid of an opinion that is from Sam.
Again, so hard to compare. The chances are for the average person, it's you like one or the other. The chances of someone liking both is actually quite...
For people that are going to agree opinions, I can promise you that Closer's definitely going to win on this one. I think the general public will agree with me.
But it's because Joy Division are massive.
Yeah.
JPEG isn't.
Yeah.
You can't bring that argument in. Move on. Let's see what Closer's going up against. Not happy. In Rainbows, just fuck off, bro. In Rainbows is better.
All right, yeah. In Rainbows, good.
In Rainbows is better.
Are we not going to talk about it at all?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about Closer anymore. Okay. In Rainbows versus Porcupine again, wipes the floor.
No, I think Porcupine.
Oh.
No. Oh, that's really difficult. Porcupine deserves some credit there.
That's fine.
A lot of credit.
Give it his credit. You can talk about it, but I think In Rainbows does wipes the floor for me. Even if it's maybe Closer for you, In Rainbows is a better album.
I will let it go through purely because me and Sam were talking about Porcupine yesterday. And I was saying, let me just get track list up just so I can make sure I'm not getting anything in the wrong order.
Yeah, this is what I know what you're going to get onto. It has a few lower moments, whereas In Rainbows is flawless.
Yeah.
You did give In Rainbows 9.6.
No, but I think that In Rainbow, yeah, but this is at least, I do think Porcupine's better. I think...
this is just continue the echo of the Bunnymen dick riding.
But it's not even, to be fair, it's not even me being an echo in the Bunnymen dick rider because I'll never defend some of the later stuff. It's these 4 albums. It's Crocodiles, Heaven Up Here.
You know what I was getting at,
Porcupine and Ocean Rain. Yeah. The Cutter and Back of Love.
You don't need to do the whole track list. Just pick out the lows because that's what we're doing here.
The only lows that I can think of is In Bluer Skies and Fuel. I think if Gods Will Be Gods was the last song on it, it would be a 10. But
but this is the album you're dealing with.
Yeah, but I gave that a 9.6. I think I'd give this like a 9.8, maybe.
No, bro. What are 2 lows on In Rainbows?
Foulstarp.
Isn't a low though. It's actually not a low.
I think people overrate Videotape.
No. There's so much more diversity in the track list as well for In Rainbows. It's a very much more immersive experience in terms of what you get.
I don't know if it is. I think this is...
Songs like, as much as like Back of Love, Clay, they do have their own different elements. You're getting the same feel out of them. On Body Snatchers to Nude.
Not necessarily.
There is not the range on Porcupine.
Yes, but a good comparison between them two could be example... Something really much heavier, like Gods Will Be Gods, versus something like the song Porcupine. On the first half, anyway.
But it's not Videotape Body Snatchers.
I think it's probably fairly on the same. But also, I quite like quite consistent album in terms of sound.
In Rainbows isn't consistent?
Huh?
You're saying In Rainbows isn't consistent?
In terms of sound, no.
Okay.
Which is literally the point that you were making. No, but I think I sometimes think that maybe it's a more, I can't remember what the word, a more immersive experience if you get more into kind of a consistent flow. That's the argument that I'd make.
In Rainbows is better. And this is one where you can let us know that Max has a stupid opinion because you've got to admit you're on your own on this one.
The thing is, I think it's hard for me to see it objectively that In Rainbows is potentially better because, I mean, as much as I love In Rainbows, also a content of one of my favourite albums of all time.
Yeah.
I think Porcupine might be the album that is most tailored to my taste that's ever been made.
Okay, but now we have to be a little bit objective here.
I know.
Come on. You won't be mad to see In Rainbows go through. I know you love Porcupine.
No, I'll let it go through purely because still love it, but this
actually isn't a budge though. Like, you can understand it.
I can understand it. I just think that Porcupine is incredible. And it actually might be... It's definitely a contender for my favourite album of all time. But both of them are, so it's difficult.
In Rainbows versus What's Going On.
Now I listened to What's Going On while I was having a shower today. I think I turned into Marvin Gaye.
Wait, the whole time you were in the shower?
Yeah. I shaved as well.
Okay, I was going to say, wasted water.
Yeah.
But what did
you... don't pay for it. Yeah, so shave in a shower in 35 minutes. I think that's a fairly good length for bit of skincare.
Don't worry, I won't critique you. I was just interested if you were in the shower for that long.
Yeah. It is an incredible album. Conceptually,
one of the best of all time.
Incredible, yeah. It's got a lot behind it, and I'm happy to see that. That's good. Vocal delivery, undeniable. This isn't a situation where I can
Tom
be...
York are on par, to be fair. I actually don't know if either beats the other.
Yeah, that's fair. Instrumentally, both incredible albums. I think purely I would go in Rainbows, because as much as I can appreciate what's going on more objectively, in Rainbows as an album in terms of content definitely resonates with me more.
But, and I know like it's what resonates with you. Mm-hmm. However, the concept is way better in What's Going On, because obviously in Rainbows it's more standalone introspective tracks.
Yeah.
And this is very much my thing, concept albums. Yeah. But I think as an experience, you're talking about an immersive experience, this is one of the most of all time. Seamless transitions.
But I think in Rainbows is also up there. I mean, I know you'll agree as well.
No, I was meaning as an immersive experience with the seamless transitions. You literally just made that argument against it for Porcupine.
I didn't know that you meant the transitions, but yeah.
But in terms of the sonic textures as well, like you keep...
Jesus.
That sounded like a gunshot. Anyway...
Morning.
I think as much as I love In Rainbows, What's Going On is a better album. As much as maybe I don't even resonate with the concept as much, as an observer, so much more important.
See, I think it's difficult because it's really hard to know what we're arguing for. Because it's hard to find that balance between being objective and being personal. But I think you could definitely make very valid arguments for both.
Yeah, no, it's not. It doesn't wipe the floor. I'm still on the fence. But I think
I'm on the fence as well. So if you manage to fall one way, then I'm happy to.
I think we should go What's Going On, because I think it is a better album.
Yeah. How much have we even got left?
That was my third placement. So now it's going to be What's Going On versus the Velvet Underground and Nika.
The Velvet Underground and Nika.
Wait, but what would you say for that versus In Rainbows? Because what would you say about that and In Rainbows?
I think I'd put the Velvet Underground and Nico over In Rainbows.
Oh, so it's over a 9.6 for you then.
I think this is a 10 album. Bear in mind, I think Velvet Underground and Nico is a 10.
Yeah. Okay.
I think as much as it's not a concept album in the same way as What's Going On is, there is definitely a. I know, but I'm trying to appeal to you because I'm trying to convince you, obviously.
Yeah.
There is definitely concepts behind it, and kind of similar time. I think What's Going On 71.
Yeah.
And this is 67.
Yeah.
Yes! That never happens. I think there's definitely some very important concepts behind it. I think Heroin is one of the best songs of all time. I think the songs with Nika are so charming. I'll Be Your Mirror, Sunday Morning, incredible intro. Really interesting that you can have such a kind of innocent and childish lullaby sound, and it's just been about having a horrible hangover. You should have listened to it this morning, or we'll probably both listen to it in the morning.
I probably won't be listening to that.
I think it's an incredible, incredible album. I think the electric violin that's incorporated into just some of the crazy sounds. I love the art rockiness. I love how avant-garde it is. It's so interesting. There is nothing like it.
This is the thing.
There is definitely
such a hard argument because they all have these elements in their respective areas.
Yeah, but I think what's going on, as much as it's an incredible album, I think there is soul stuff and Motown stuff is a similar kind of album. As much as this is the Prince, this is as good as it gets. There is similar sounds. What album?
As in like instrumentally.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. Whereas there actually isn't. There is no album that has got. Well, there is, but like. This is
the Velvet Underground, like as much as it obviously does still have its own unique and identity and stuff. It's not so far beyond everything else. I'm not making this argument for what's going on.
Not so far, but I think it's if we're doing the arguments that we've kind of made so far in terms of songwriting, it doesn't get better than Lou Reed, as you find. Check out the shorts.
But songwriting isn't above What's Going On for me.
Okay.
So if we go equal on that, because they're both perfect.
Yeah, okay, so let's go with that. Influence, where are you going? I'm easily going
No,
Velvet
what's going
Underground.
on is one of the most influential, bro. It literally changed Motown. The head of Motown wouldn't
one
even
thing.
Wait, bro.
There is not
bro,
much.
Listen.
Okay.
Head of Motown wouldn't even release it at first because he was like, we're not doing this concept album thing. Completely changed the whole entire record label.
Yeah. One record label.
Bro, that is one of the most important albums in that ever.
Not taking away from it, but I'm
and
just
the
saying,
writing.
Sam, I'm not taking away from the fact that it did change all the music and how important it is. Concept album.
In fact, I actually don't. What's going on is more influential. I stand on that.
No, I don't think. I don't think you've done enough looking into it.
Whoa.
Maybe listen. Let me
go on.
It's very influential for the idea of the concept album. Changed all the music on that label. Yes. However, the Velvet Underground and Nico is so important to almost every guitar band since then. I'd say potentially more influential than the Beatles.
I don't think that's a stupid comment. However, it's just a completely different realm, which I also don't think you've done enough digging in. And I don't think that's silly to say. Hip-hop, black music in general, from black artists, everyone, what's going on has influenced everyone. Still influencing people like Kendrick today, Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation album. It was seen as the hip-hop's Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. You can't argue that it's not got long-lasting longevity of a widespread thing as well. Soul music today, R&B music today is still influenced by it.
Of course,
with artists like The Weeknd, as much as he's on his sort of 80s wave at the moment, some of his vocal
delivery.
delivery.
You can definitely hear Marvin Gaye.
I don't think you can make the argument for influence either. It's just in a different area.
I do, because as well, I will say, What's Going On was obviously a controversial album, like we said about the label and everything, but the Velvet Underground and Nico, there's some stuff in the 50s, like Little Richard, for example, that kind of, there's a little bit of, that was not, I don't even know how to phrase it, as in it was like breaking some boundaries and like social expectations and stuff, but the Velvet Underground and Nico, open discussions about homosexuality, open discussions about, let me finish, about drug use, the racial stuff, songs like Waiting for the Man and things like that, addressing lots of issues in America similar to that of
what's going on.
So I would say, as much as they are both incredibly influential albums, the Velvet Underground and Nico was more kind of got that wave going of more controversial music that maybe Marvin Gaye kind of hopped on a little bit. Not in terms of sound, but just in terms of the Velvet Underground and Nico was one of the first albums to actually
bro, Marvin Gaye has always had that, his style. He's not influenced by the Velvet Underground. I don't mean
sound. I don't mean sound at all, obviously.
And the songwriting isn't either.
You've not said what I said. I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything to do with the actual...
in terms of the controversial music?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about as in what it sounds like, as in just the ideas behind it of breaking social boundaries of what was usually in music.
I don't think that's a good argument, because
why not?
Also, the Velvet Underground didn't invent that.
No,
so many people that broke
pioneer of it though.
Before.
Who? I said like stuff like Little Richard because there was like some. I've not looked.
There's so many artists throughout the 60s that broke boundaries because of that's how it was going. What? And this is people like the Beatles.
Yeah. Not to the same extent as the Velvet Underground and Nico. The Beatles weren't talking about heroin and gay sex and stuff.
They were
talking about a little bit of weed every now and again.
I think we're bringing up areas that are both equally just as good. I think it comes down to personal preference on this one. I can let it go through.
Okay, go
on. I personally think What's Going On is better.
I know,
but everything you've said, you've not made a bad argument. Like that's what I think.
Okay.
And also, even for you, it don't wipe the floor, surely.
That's in terms of what?
As in, like, over What's Going On. Like, it's not...
No, don't wipe the floor. I think it's got an edge, but it's not like makes it look terrible. It's just got a slight edge and personal preference for me as
That's
well.
fine. I'm not mad. I don't agree, but I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Here, it comes up against Animals. Animals is better. Animals is better. Pink Floyd.
Well, I knew it was by.
I don't even know why I said that. I'm actually miles away.
Oh, these are genuinely really difficult to decide between.
Songwriting, you can't argue that it's more controversial. One of the most controversial rock albums ever.
I mean, yeah, you can. You definitely can. Hold on. Animals is definitely addressing some difficult things to talk about and everything, but Animals isn't the kind of album where people heard it and went, oh, you can't talk about that. Whereas the Velvet Underground and Nika, 100%. What on Animals was as controversial as that?
I mean, the whole concept, describing the human race and depicting every element of society as animals, is quite degrading.
It's not the same extent though.
Also we're going into this area so much. Like the Velvet Underground, it has the time.
We'll go into more things.
It has the time advantage on it. Like it was released in the time where in the 60s, a lot of music that was coming out was breaking the boundaries. So then when stuff comes later, obviously the boundaries have already been broken. Like I don't think that's an argument we can go for. So let's try and discuss something else to see what gives it the edge. I think it's a fairer way to do it. Because this album's 10 years later, boundaries and this sort of stuff have been broken.
Yeah.
But Animals is one of the most cohesive concept albums of all time with one of the best concepts. It's got the replay value. Songs like Dogs, 17 minutes, but every single minute is gripping and engaging.
Can you class that as replay value though? Because it's not like... It's replay value for you as a massive music fan who loves that kind of thing, but replay value to the average person, definitely not. There is also
I'm
stuff
making the argument for me, and also Animals is an album you listen to in its entirety.
Yeah, but you have to remember this is you and us. I mean us.
But we are talking about the albums here.
Yeah.
So we're judging it in the context of the album. It's not a song like Dogs is going up against the Velvet Underground and Nika.
I think the Velvet Underground and Nika has got more replay value. As much as it's also at points a difficult listen, like stuff like European Sun, it's like, oh, okay. But it's definitely got more. There's stuff on there.
I suppose if you're going to put individual songs on, yes.
Yeah, but also just as an album as a whole, because
I disagree.
Animals is an incredible album. What did I give it on the Pink Floyd video? Like a 9.6
or something?
I think something like that, yeah. I completely lost my train of thought now because I've just changed the topic midway through. What was I saying? Yes, it's one of them albums where I'd say it doesn't have as much replay value because, for example, it's like stuff that we've talked about before, like just T-Pab as an example. You don't listen to it that often because you only want to listen to it half the way through. Half the way through? All the way through. You only want to listen to it all the way.
I didn't even know what you were trying to say.
I didn't even know what I was trying to say. Whereas the Velvet Underground and Nika, I think is just so much more listenable.
But is that the most defining factor?
No, I'm just saying one thing. Obviously, we're going to toss up some more.
I just think... Pause. It's tough to make the arguments because they're both such high quality albums, so it's not really like one has it over the other. I think as a album, the concept and the writing's better. It's a more cohesive album. It's really tough though.
It is. I'll let you have this one.
Again, though, it's literally just like it's a toss up.
I think maybe I'll give you the slight edge because I think that maybe some of the instrumentation is a bit more impressive.
Yeah, but
I think they're definitely better.
I don't know though.
No, because to be fair, Lou Reed, as much as he's great, just John Cale and his electric violin is very experimental and very unique. However, that's for that album, that's kind of the most kind of impressive instrumental thing. Lou Reed is in no means an incredible guitarist. He's just good rhythm guitarist for a songwriter. And drums and bass is solid. Everything's solid. The songwriting is the standout on the Velvet Underground and Nika, and by no means the musicianship. Whereas I'd say the songwriting is equally as incredible on Animals, and I'd say potentially better musicianship, which is maybe why I'll let you have the edge on this one. I'll let you edge me on this one. I
was about to say I completely agree with you until you said that last bit. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Thank you. But now...
Done well there, aren't I?
Yeah.
Just to...
But now I think this one's a lot easier, but I don't think it will because it's one of your favourite albums of all time. Cocktail Twins, The Moon and the Melodies versus Animals, Pink Floyd. I'm sorry, as much as I love the album as well, Animals is more impressive. But
it is.
I think The Moon and the Melodies has one of the most unique and distinguishable moods and atmospheres of any album ever.
Cocktail Twins and Harold Budd. We'll give Harold Budd his credit where he's due as well. Yeah, I think I've when we shortlisted the albums for this, we didn't necessarily put them really in an order. We just picked 10 and then put them in a rough order of what we think might make it through. Like for example, for example, I had a Hero's Death quite far down because I knew realistically that's not going to be what's going to be in your top area. I've put this here as my last entry because I think it's probably like my list is kind of a balance between favourites and objectively what I think's good. This is in here. I 100% think it's an incredible album, but I hold this on such a high standard because it's so personal in terms of favouritism. It's Elizabeth Fraser. I genuinely just wanted to sing to me all the time. I had a really hard time picking whether to do this album or Heaven or Las Vegas, but I decided to do this one because I think as much as I think Heaven or Las Vegas is as good of an album, this is just a more personal one to me.
I prefer The Moon and the Melodies.
Yeah.
Like I confidently say, as much as I love Heaven or Las Vegas, I think it doesn't even sort of cross my mind. It's like a definitive number one for me.
And there's just some songs on here that genuinely I think Animals is probably going to win this because it objectively and
is in this battle or the whole bracket. Because I've got one more.
This battle,
yeah.
Because it is just thinking purely objective, I think it is better. But there is nothing on Animals that resonates and hits anywhere near as deep as any song on this album. For me personally.
For you personally,
yeah,
that's fine. I think Animals has to go through. I think it would be stupid.
Why Do You Love Me? Just that instrumental cut midway through. I think is genuinely one of the best pieces of music ever made in history.
I could get behind that.
That song is on par with Tchaikovsky. Puts Beethoven to shame.
Yeah, no, it's insane. It's such a...
If you've not listened to The Moon and the Melodies, genuinely... Actually, don't listen to it. It's the wrong time of year. Wait till it gets dark. Walk around at night and just listen to this album.
With your headphones on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not out loud. Headphones on. And let us know how it goes in a year.
It is incredible.
I can't put enough praise on that album.
Yeah, it's insane.
It just makes me want to cry thinking about how good it is.
Yeah. But Animals is going through.
Yeah, I know.
And this is the final battle, which is two of my albums going head to head.
I know what's coming. It's T-Pab, isn't it? Yeah.
Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar.
I'll let you toss this one up first.
As much as Pink Floyd, my favourite band of all time, I genuinely might go on a wing here and say that T-Pab is the best album of all time.
Explain.
I think it's the best concept album of all time. If you want to... Really? I mean, obviously saying something like that is bold and it's a hot take regardless.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I genuinely, I've not dived deep enough into concept albums really to make a definitive decision, but
I think
a strong claim.
It is... Well, especially what it did for the Black Lives Matter movement as well. Like, All Right was the literal theme tune of that.
Yeah.
But that embodies everything that the album sort of has to offer. Discussing black politics and how Kendrick signed to a label. At first, it was all good, but then he started to realise that he was being exploited and stuff. The 4 sections of the album as well, like how it's all broken down. And you can't, as much as there are deep cuts on this album, something like the outro, you wouldn't ever put that on, so that doesn't have the replay value. But you can't say that the album as a whole doesn't have replay value because the songs like All Right, King Hunter, Wesley's Theory, there are some absolute slappers on here.
I is an 11 out of 10. That's a great.
Yeah, I think the album's perfect. Obviously, that's why it's here anyway. But I genuinely don't think there is a concept that is so deep, thought provoking. But also,
I could debate that Animals is more thought provoking for me.
No, yeah, for you, but it's hard for us to say. Like,
white.
The album isn't made for us, but genuinely observing it, I feel like motivated to do the right thing in life, even if I maybe don't resonate with
Animals does that for me as well, though.
Yeah, true. But I genuinely think T-Pab is like
I find
insane.
As much as this is just on my end. As I can definitely appreciate.
Why did your eyes just start tweaking there? By the way, I don't even know what you realised what you did. Your eyes just went massive. You're like,
as much as I can appreciate it, it feels very distant to me. It doesn't.
T-Pab?
Yeah, not only because it's just in terms of music taste, Kendrick's definitely up there in rap for me, but rap as a whole is quite distant from just what resonates with me. So, which automatically that gives it a bit of. And the opposite of bias against it, because it's just not my thing. And then the fact that the concept is nothing to do with me kind of puts it further away. And then the fact also that it's just America kind of pushes it even further away. Whereas I feel like the concept of Animals is completely universal to everyone, everywhere, all the time, forever, always has been, always will be. It's just how the world works.
I
just think it's a more universal subject, and I think it's got.
But is that necessarily what it needs? I think
for me, I like the idea of a concept album that the more niche of a concept it is, not in any way saying that Black Power or anything is a niche subject, but like, just for me as a concept being more universal and covering everything in a like humanity is pretty crazy. So that's just a personal opinion.
I don't think though that skin color is a boundary to accessing what this album has to offer.
Definitely not.
I know you're not saying it, and it's obviously like I'm not saying you were doing anything wrong.
Let's just tread carefully here.
But I think I can appreciate this, even if it's not necessarily something that I can relate to directly. Mm-hmm. This album is still like close to my heart, just in terms of like being a human being, and it operating in the music industry and stuff like that, like exploiting people. There's stuff like that
definitely
has nothing to do with it, and just I don't know. This album is just so empowering. I find it really hard to describe how it makes me feel, but I genuinely am like a bit emotional when listening to it. Like that is how much it is. Whereas Animals, I'm like, nah, this is really standing up for something here, and it really depicts society in a brutal way. It's brutally and honest.
It's not empowering for you, obviously, but as in like you see the empowerment, I think is what you mean. Yes. It can't be.
No, I know, but like,
I know what you're trying to say.
As well, it's like the pride of someone putting so much time.
You're proud of Kendrick.
Yeah. Kendrick, you did a great job, mate. But I just think, I also don't think saying that it's not universal or as universal is actually just incorrect. Because
obviously.
So, like, again, I don't think colour is the boundary to the album at all.
Yeah.
Like, as a white person, you can still get just as much out of it. From a different angle.
I think that's a really difficult one to answer, because we don't want to kind of look at things in the wrong angle or anything, but musically, in terms of enjoyment, yes, 100%. But concept, we can't grasp that. We can to an extent, but we've not experienced his experiences.
Yes, you can't relate to it.
Which means for me that it resonates less, because I can't relate to it, whereas Animals is a much more relatable album in terms of things that they're talking about.
But I think it resonates with me in a different way to how it might for someone who's black. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's what the joy of a concept album is everyone can interpret it in different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a really hard one to like get into, because I actually can't explain truly how I feel listening to it. But you were right. It's that pride and just awe at the musicianship and how well thought out it was.
Concept, I think it's just, concept's such a hard thing to do objectively, because it just comes down to personal preference and what resonates. But I would make the argument that musically, as much as T-Pab is production-wise one of the best rap albums probably of all time, Animals musically is also really debatably one of the best musical albums of all time.
I know. This is why they're both here, and why they were my 1 and 2.
Are we ever, by the way, just quickly, just interrupt and I'll let you carry on. Are we allowed to ever have a draw on the podcast, or do we always have?
Nah, we have to win. The whole point of this video is to have one standalone winner. And for me...
Let us know what you think.
Also, hang on. I'm sorry, but I actually have the defining winning point. You've given T-Pab a 10, but you gave Animals a 9.6.
Yeah, I know.
And there is no
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
I don't know why I didn't bring it up earlier, but...
When did I give T-Pab a 10, by the way? I genuinely
in the Black Album covers tier list.
I think I might need to. I don't think it's a 10. I don't know.
Well, you've gone online, it's out there now, and you've said it.
Well, what if I reverse it?
You're never going to reverse it?
No, what if I do reverse it? Because I don't think it's better than In Rainbows.
Oh, it is.
And I don't think it's as good as Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, it is. It's better.
It's definitely in that high 9 region, but I think 10 was maybe just a bit of a heat of the moment thing. It was a short form. I didn't have as much time to think about it.
It was a long form, and you planned and prepped for it.
I didn't know.
We both had T-Pab in perfect. On the tier list, we didn't debate it.
No, I said that T-Pab was a 10 before the tier list video.
No, you didn't actually go. You didn't say it was a 10. Then you just said that T-Pab's better than Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, so it technically and theoretically.
Which Dark Side also you gave a 10.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
No, I've changed my mind on that. I've just changed my mind.
One sec though.
Okay.
One of the points of this whole thing where we decide what goes through is who makes the better argument, and I think you're on the back foot because you've gone out and said it is a perfect album and Animals isn't.
This is why I don't give anything perfect, because it's always going to bounce back on me, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you didn't have to give it perfect, but as an argument,
because in the context I was defending Unknown Pleasures. That
But
was
you've
why.
also then you've done it twice. You've gone on a long form and had it imperfect. We didn't debate it.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, because straight away you said, you've given it a 10, you can't argue against it. I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but we prepped for the video and we had it imperfect.
We didn't. No, we didn't.
Well, we prepped for the long form videos. Yeah, you did.
We didn't do the tier list before we started filming.
No, but as in we put all the albums respectively into the categories before and brought them in and then debated and mixed it and matched. There was no debate of T-Pab being in the perfect tier.
No, wait, what? We didn't. Wait, so you're saying that before the video, we already put the albums in the tiers?
For
Not true.
Individually, yes, we did.
Oh, no, I didn't.
What?
You might have done that. I didn't plan ahead. I did it in the moment.
Oh, bro. I mean, again, weak argument because weak argument. T-Pab's winning. I'm sorry. Your argument is nowhere near as strong now.
Yeah, I know it's not, but I'm annoyed because you've just been manipulating me and setting me up over the last few weeks, all in preparation for this very moment.
Had nothing to do with it. I've always said that I think T-Pab is one of the best of all time, and I've stood by it. So I think in this moment I have a better argument.
Yeah, you have a better argument.
T-Pab wins. Don't look too annoyed. You still said it was at least a high 9. He's a deserving winner. Maybe he's just more of like...
I might agree. I don't know.
Okay, but I think even if it's a little bit more distant as a personal connection to it, you can still appreciate the artistry.
100%, yeah.
So
which is why I've given it a 10 in the past, because I can 100% appreciate everything about it. But I think the only reason I was maybe playing devil's advocate is because Animals is more my thing and resonates with me more. That's the only reason.
That's fine. Also, don't get me wrong, it's not night and day. Animals is still perfect and incredible. And I listen to Animals more, but I think T-Pab's better.
Okay.
But that has brought us to the end. Do you want to do some goodbyes?
Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any video requests, let us know. Follow us on all of our socials. Just keep catching up. Keep supporting the people that are watching. Keep supporting the people that are watching. Keep supporting us. You are the people that are watching. Help me.
You also sounded really upset doing that outro.
Yeah, I am. I never feel good at the end of these videos.
Oh.
I'm lying.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Cheerio.
See ya.